Hey folks, Wally DM here, and today we're going to take a look at my top 5 picks for puzzle books that need to be on your shelf. Now, as far as making the list is concerned, these books have to be available in either a softcover or a hardback in order for them to get a mention. Now, along this video, I'm going to introduce you to 2 books that don't make the cut and why they do not, and 2 or 3 books that I am looking forward to that are going to be released in 2022 and beyond. So this should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this. Now do keep in mind that all of the books are going to be in a random order that I chose. I'm not going to rank them 5 to 1 because I believe each of these puzzle books offer their own unique style and they can be implemented in different ways. They're apples to oranges, if you will. So before we jump into my picks, let's take a look at 2 books that did not make my list. And oddly enough, they are both official D&D books that were published, and the first one I'm going to mention, which may surprise you some, is Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Inside of this supplement that was released in 2020 is 13 puzzles. Now don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the layout of the puzzles. I like the settings. There's one that's setting is in a tavern, there's one in a haunted mansion, there's one that's in a dwarven temple. They're easy to follow, they're easy to read, there's plenty of handouts for your players, plenty of artwork to give you that inspiration. But what I don't like is the solution. Almost every puzzle is solved by either counting letters or by putting things in alphabetical order or doing something with words. And it just, once you solve 1 or 2 of them, then you've pretty much got the formula for the rest of the puzzles. And it just leaves a little bit there. And I've also had a lot of folks that will comment on the videos that I make for these puzzles that if you are running your games and English is not the primary language, then you can't even use almost all of the puzzles in this book. There might be 1 or 2 you can use, but other than that, if you're not running your games in English, this book, as far as the puzzles are concerned, are going to be completely worthless to you. But with that being said, if you'd like to see one of these puzzles and how it works, my favorite one is the 4x4 puzzle, and it involves the dwarven skulls, so you can check that out on my channel. And if you'd like to pick up Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, you can get it for $30. I will put a link in the description below. Now the next book on my list, which is official D&D content, and I see it recommended to folks all the time, especially on Facebook groups and Reddit and Twitter and things like that, with people wanting puzzle books, and this book is recommended, and I just shake my head because I just don't see it, and that is the Dungeons & Dragons official book of challenges. This, I've read through it and there's just not any puzzles that I like in here. Now I actually did do a video on one of the traps from this book, Riddles and Prizes, so if you'd like to take a look at that, you can kind of see what this book is about, but that was the only encounter I could really find from here. Now don't get me wrong, there is some good inspiration. There's quite a few encounters. A lot of them are monster based, and there are some challenges and some hazards that you can run your players through. It's hard for me to read. I think that's a lot because it is written in 3rd edition language, so it's not the best reading material as far as that concerned. It seems like there's a lot and it could just be slimmed down quite a bit. Each encounter is just like pages long, and unfortunately, I don't want to read that long. I get bored of it or whatever else if it doesn't catch my attention right away. But if you're looking for a puzzle book for your shelf, the Book of Challenges really isn't there for you. But if you would like to pick it up, unfortunately, it is very expensive. I mean, it is one of my prized possessions of my collection, but if you want to get it today, the hard or the softcover version of it, you can pick it up used for about $80 on Amazon. So it's an expensive book. If you don't want puzzles, definitely don't get it. But if you'd like to pick up the PDF, you can do that on DriveThruRPG. I'll also put a link to that in the description below. So what books do make my top 5? Well, let's begin with the one that you know that I absolutely love the most, and that's my own production, Wally DM's Journal of Puzzle Encounters. Now, I won't spend too much time on this, but this is the book that currently has the most puzzles in it, and it is for any skill level of Dungeon Master and any skill level of players. There's easy, there's medium, there's hard, there's all kinds of different types of puzzles that you can run. There's logic puzzles, there's knowledge puzzles, there's trap puzzles if you want those. All kinds of different things, 60 puzzles, plus there are 100 different random rooms that you could just roll and drop right into your game, and perhaps a puzzle or trap will spring from it. Now I won't spend too much time on it because if you're familiar with my channel and hopefully subscribed, then you're going to see a lot of the videos that include puzzles from this book and my style of puzzles. So what I like to do is I like to make them easy. I like to make them, you can read through it and know if it's going to fit your group right away, and I like to be able to just drop them right into a game. So hopefully the Puzzle Encounters is already on your bookshelf. If not, I'll put a link in the description below so you can pick it up. Now, if I were to share my favorite puzzle that's in the book, it's going to be the Magic Mouth puzzle. And if you would like to check that out, you can find a link to that right here. And it is probably one of my favorite puzzles, and it has so many stories from when I ran it, and it's just so much fun. So Magic Mouth is my favorite puzzle. Let me know which is your favorite puzzle from the Journal of Puzzle Encounters. Now, if you like the Journal of Puzzle Encounters, my next pick in my top 5 is very similar with regards to layouts and the puzzle creation, and that is the Puzzles, Predicaments, and Perplexities. Now, as far as a softcover or hardback, as of 2021, the only one that you can get in print is Puzzles, Predicaments, and Perplexities 2. But this book has very nice breakdowns. All of the puzzles are laid out so you can easily read through them and see if it's something you want to involve or include into your game. You can run them with no problems. It inspires you to think outside the box with regards to the solution or changing it and making it your own. And there are plenty of different diagrams and pictures that are going to help inspire your imagination and help you run it in your game. Now, if you'd like to pick up this book, you can get this on the DM's Guild. It's going to be $17 for the softcover, $23 for the hardcover, and $5 for the PDF. If you'd like to see a sample of one of the puzzles, I did a video on the Skeleton Court. That is my favorite puzzle from the book, and you can find a link here and a video with a full demonstration. Now, the third book that I'm going to recommend for you is by Legends and Layers. There's actually 2 different books. There's Traps and Treachery, and there's Traps and Treachery II. Now, Traps and Treachery II is the one that I've been using the most, and not only do you get puzzles in this book, but you also get a lot of traps. And in fact, I think one of these 2 even offers different takes on poison, if you're interested in using poison, and things for rogues. But Traps and Treachery II and Traps and Treachery were actually the first 2 puzzle books that I ever bought. When I picked these up, I was super excited to add them to my collection, and it was a great source of inspiration for puzzles that I created as well. Now, these are not really based for beginning dungeon masters. They're very short and simple with block text and things like that. So if you are new to running puzzles, I would probably recommend the Journal of Puzzle Encounters or Puzzles, Perplexities, and Predicaments rather than getting this. But once you become comfortable with running puzzles and your players are enjoying them, then both Traps and Treachery and Traps and Treachery II are going to be right up your alley. There's a lot of great stuff in there, and not only that, but you're going to get a boatload of traps to go along with it. Now, you can currently pick these up, I believe, Traps and Treachery for about $20 on Amazon. Traps and Treachery 2 is running about $35 on Amazon. And of course, you can also just get the PDF on DriveThruRPG. I believe the PDF is running about $5 or $6. I will put a link to each of those in the description below. And if I were to pick my favorite from these 2 books, I really liked Dial and Entrance. That's in Traps and Treachery 2. And you can take a look at that video on my channel. There's a link for you, and see how it's run with a full demonstration. Now, if you really want more puzzle books on your shelf, the next book that you're going to need to get is Nord Games' Treacherous Traps. Now, just traps alone, there's over 250 traps in this book, making that a buy just for the traps alone. And they're really good too. They're for all kinds of different character levels, and I really enjoy reading through them. But there are also 25 puzzles in here that range from logic puzzles to riddle puzzles to ones that just provide great atmosphere and inspiration. Now, they're really not broken down. They're going to be more for an advanced to an expert dungeon master to be able to run, someone that's already familiar with running puzzles or being able to improv or make things, adapt things to their games. But if you are that DM or that GM, then you definitely want to have this book in your collection. Now, I say that because the puzzles are broken down into just blocks of text, introducing the puzzle, giving you the solution, and every once in a while throwing you maybe a few other ideas, but there's not a lot of pictures or diagrams or things like that to help explain things, and I think that it could probably be a little bit better with just blocking down and to make it easier to just drop in your game or for newer dungeon masters to run. But regardless of that, there are still some excellent puzzles in here, and just reading through them, you are going to get inspired to either make your own, to run these as is, or to maybe make a few changes to include one of these in your game. Now, if I were to pick one of my favorite puzzles from this book, it's definitely going to be Aquatic Allies. It was open-ended to allow me to interpret what this puzzle was going to be for, and not only is it one of my favorite puzzles, but I really enjoyed recording it. If you have not watched the Aquatic Allies puzzle yet, I suggest that you do that. It was a lot of fun for me to record, and I hope you like the demonstration. You can find a link to that right here and in the description below. And if you'd like to pick up Treacherous Traps, it's going to cost you $20 for the PDF. You can get that on DriveThruRPG, or $35 to $40 on Amazon. I will put links to this in the description below. Now, my final recommendation for puzzle books that need to be on your bookshelf is Nerzugal's Dungeon Master Toolkits. Now, he's been writing books for quite a long time. He actually has 3 different books that you could pick up: the Dungeon Master Toolkit, Dungeon Master Toolkit 2, and the Game Master Toolkit. Each of these books have 10 different puzzles included in them, and I really like the style and the thought that goes into each of these. Nerzugal is a very good friend of mine. We get to play a lot of D&D together, and just being able to pick his brain about some of these puzzles in here has definitely been a blessing for me. He puts a lot of thought and time into his puzzles, and if you really have a group that loves puzzles and are very intelligent when it comes to puzzle solving, then you're definitely going to want to check out his Dungeon Master Toolkits, because some of them are really good brain busters and you're going to stump your players. So I would definitely recommend this for advanced to expert level Dungeon Masters and players, but the puzzles in here are absolutely amazing. Now, if you'd like to pick up Nerzugal's Dungeon Master Toolkits, the soft covers and hardbacks are going to run about the $15 to $20 range. But some of these you can pick up in PDF form very, very cheap. In fact, the Dungeon Master Toolkit, I'll put a link in the description below. If you just want to take a look at all of the great stuff that he offers in these books, it's going to cost you $1. And you can just zip on over there, pick it up, and start reading. And what I like most about Nerzugal's Toolkits is it has all kinds of different additional information in addition to the puzzles. You get random tables to create magic items, you get random tables for encounters in wilderness and forests and cities and things of that nature. He's got magic items, monsters, one-shot adventures, you name it. The Dungeon Master Toolkits are toolkits, and you'll absolutely love having these on your shelf. Now, my favorite puzzle is actually Crosswords, and if you'd like to check that out, I will put a link here so you can go watch the video. I think this is a underutilized puzzle. It was so much fun to create the video for this and to go through the demonstration, and I'm absolutely positive you're going to enjoy it. So as of the year 2021, those are my top 5 picks for puzzle books that need to be on your shelf. Now, there are a few releases that are coming up in 2022 and beyond, and the first one that I'd like to mention is a Kickstarter that I recently backed, Yarg's Guide to Traps and Puzzles, and I'm very interested to see what comes up. These are supposedly going to be told from the point of view of Yarg, and should be puzzles and traps that you can just simply drop into your game. So this will be released, or the Kickstarter will be fulfilled, I believe, next year in 2022, and I'll be looking forward to it. Maybe we'll do a couple of videos on it and do an all-out review. Who knows? Another puzzle book that I'm looking forward to in 2022, and it is already available on Amazon to pre-order. I will put a link in the description below if you would like to go over, check it out, and pre-order it yourself. But it's going to be a sequel to the Game Master's Book of Random Encounters, and that is going to be the Game Master's Book of Traps, Puzzles, and Dungeons. If you're familiar with Jeff Ashworth's work in the Random Encounters book, this is one of my favorite books. In fact, it may make another top 5 list here pretty soon on this channel, so stay tuned. But this book is absolutely amazing, and I would recommend it to anybody. And so I'm very excited to see what Jeff is going to come up with the Traps, Puzzles, and Dungeons segment. I've already pre-ordered it. It is already a bestseller on Amazon, so I would encourage you to check it out as well. And then finally, for a book that's going to come out in 2022 and beyond, it's going to be dependent on the author and if they're able to get this book ready and to get everything written out in time, and that is going to be a sequel to Wally DM's Journal of Puzzle Encounters, which I don't know what the name of it is going to be yet. Maybe we'll call it the Archive of Puzzle Encounters. Let me know in the description below if we should stay with that kind of name convention. But yes, I am writing another book. I'm probably about 18% done as of 2021 writing it, but I'm very excited to be able to get that out there, and I'm going to pretty much do the same thing. I'm going to have at least 60 puzzles in there for you, and then I'm going to include a bunch of extras. I'm thinking I'm going to look at traps this time and maybe a few other things, but we'll have more on that in the future, so be sure that you are subscribed to this channel with those notifications on and stay tuned. Not only that, but you're going to continue to get at least 1 or 2 puzzle videos from me, whether they're my own design or from a book like I presented here, and those are going to release every month. So if you want puzzles and traps in your game, make sure you're subscribed and hang out with us. So those are my top 5 picks for puzzle books that need to be on your bookshelf. Again, we excluded any that were just PDF only, because if you're a gamer like me, you want that hard copy or that physical copy that you can take with you, read while you're at lunch, take on vacation, whatever it is. Take it to your game and be able to open it and flip through the pages. There's just something about a physical copy of a book that I absolutely love. So those are my picks. Let me know in the comments below if there is one in particular that you absolutely love. One that you are just like, man, I would recommend this puzzle book to anybody. Also, did I miss any? Was I too hard on Tasha's Cauldron and the Book of Challenges from D&D 3rd edition? Let me know below. I'm excited to get a conversation going. That's all I have for you. Thank you very much for watching, and on to the next.